Welcome to Court Helicopter Explainer, where we are dealing with the question of after somebody has died and is married, is the widow supposed to inherit the property of her late husband? It's a very hard question. We know very well in many societies, after the husband has died, families of brothers and uncles of the deceased man normally chase the widow. They say she's the one who has bewitched our son, she's the one who killed our son, she's the one who neglected our son, and therefore she cannot take property of our son. You find, for example, after death, people come, take the suits of Omari, take the shoes of everything. It is, in some cultures, that is what is there. So the question is, what is the position of a widow in terms of inheriting the property of the husband? The law as it is in Article 35, in Section 35 of the law of succession, talks about who can inherit, who are the beneficiaries. Under that law, a wife does not inherit anything. The wife only inherits two things. One, personal items and household equipments. Masufuria, majiko, masahani, those household items belong to the wife. The wife does not inherit. What the wife inherits is a life interest. What is the meaning of a life interest? She will continuously use the properties of her late husband until she dies. But the properties will not vest in her if there is no will. If there is a will, then the will be implemented. So if you want your property, if you want your wife to inherit your property, make a will. That is the only time your wife can have a will, can have the property that you want her to have. If there is no will, the courts will deal with that question as a intestate succession without a will. If it is a polygamous marriage still and there is no will, the properties, the two wives, 3 wives, 10 wives, or 1 wife will not inherit the property. They will be allowed to use these properties until they die. After they have died, then the children will take over those properties. Inheritance, the concept of inheritance, is to move property from one generation to the other. The generation of the spouse is similar to the generation, the man who died is the similar generation with the wife. So the property is supposed to move from father and mother to the children. And remember, we said the children will inherit the property whether they are a girl or a boy. Whether the girl is married or not married, they will all inherit the property of their late father. 2, the law also talks that if the widow is married, after the husband dies, she's a young lady, she gets married, then she will lose that life interest. So if you have been married, remarried after your husband has died, you have nothing to inherit at all. You cannot even use or have a life interest in the estate. The new man who has married you will provide for you. So, widows, if you want to continue enjoying the property of your deceased husband, then you will have to remain unmarried. 2, if you are married, remarried, you lose the property of your former, the deceased husband. Free, we have brought to you the issue about who will inherit. We have said every child of the deceased will inherit that property. A new issue is coming of late. House girls who are employees being married, being dependent, because the first wife either separated, the children took their mother to the US, left the father here. The father had a house girl who was working for him. He later turns that house girl into a wife. When he dies, controversy arises. The children of the first family and their mother fight that this was an employee. This was not a wife. If this Muzee supported that lady you are calling a housewife, if they have children with that lady, if the children are not of your father, of the deceased, but the house girl or the new wife came with children, if they were supported, they will be called dependents and they will also have a share of inheritance. So what Court Helicopter is trying to tell you is that either if you don't want animosity, you as a father put a will and distribute your properties how you want to be. 2, register your properties jointly with your wife if you want your wife to acquire your property, because under joint tenancy, those properties are not going to be taken to the to succession. If there are trusts that are there for the children, you can register trusts to ensure that your property is safe. Wakili Danstan Omari telling you that even when one person dies, there is a law that deals with the properties of a dead person. Keep watching, keep following, as you understand that wives who turn to be widows they don't inherit the properties of their husband. It is quite an unjust law. There's a bill in Parliament trying to amend the law so that the widows are entitled to inherit. The widows have contributed into this property, but they don't get the property. It is the children who never contributed anything to get this property. The law is bad, but Court Helicopter tells you the law as it is. Keep watching and enjoy your Sunday over this New Year 2026.